And we're back. Time to go talk to Mune about going to visit the other city-states. 'Tis good to see you up and about again, Asuka. Tell me, did you pay the Elder Seedseer a visit as I bade? Yes, I did. Appointed personal envoy? And now you are to bear the Elder Seedseer's missive to our allies. Well, it seems you've made an impression on the great woman. I can't argue with her judgment, though. You've earned this honor with tireless hard work, and anyone who says you don't deserve it had better not do so in my hearing. I find myself praising you often of late, but Mother is truly proud of you. It's a little weird that she refers to herself that way. Short of a warrior of light, I can imagine no better adventurer to represent us, and that, my girl, is some compliment. But I've flattered you enough for one day, and I don't want your head to get too big, or you'll struggle to lug it around the realm. Speaking of which, Eorzea is a big old place. Now that you have an airship pass, you can really start to broaden your horizons. The sky is quite literally the limit. Even if your errand didn't call for it, I would strongly suggest visiting the other two city-states of the Alliance before you go anywhere else. They are, of course, Limsa, City of Pirates, and Ul'dah, Jewel of the Desert. Once you've acquainted yourself with them, you can turn your sights on whichever lesser-trodden region takes your fancy. The calamity changed the face of Eorzea, and much of her now lies in shadow, beyond man's ken. It's a veritable playground for a wide-eyed adventurer like your good self. Mind you, it won't all be fun and games. Each nation faces its fair share of problems, from internal strife to conflict with the beast tribes and their primals. So don't be too surprised if you find yourself embroiled in the odd unsavory situation on your travels. But no matter what difficulties you encounter, I am confident that you will pull through and emerge the stronger for the experience. These are interesting times for Eorzea, Asuka. It's been 5 years now since the calamity, but folk are finally beginning to look to the future. A period of great change is upon us, and you have a part to play in it. And if that prospect doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. So, those other two city-states, Limsa and Ul'dah, are also starting locations, depending on which class you pick at the beginning of the game. Since we're doing a new game plus, it only let me start from the one I started from initially, which was Gridania. Yes, I want to go to the airship landing. And I could teleport to these places, but then the quest won't advance properly. Standard, like, transportation conductor announcement here. One day, minstrels will sing of your deeds. May you ever walk in the light of the crystal. Seatbelts haven't been invented yet in Eorzea. Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom.
It has been 15 years, but the bitter taste of defeat lingers still. 15 years since the Imperial fleet set course for Mordona, led by the Egrios, mightiest of all vessels. Silver Till lay ripe for the taking, and all of Eorzea would soon be ours. Or so we believed. But an innumerable host of dragons met us that day, at the heart of which flew the great Midgard Zormer. Though we succeeded in slaying that lord among worms, the dread serpent's defeat was bought at too high a price. Our invincible flagship was lost, and all hope of victory with her. So ended our glorious conquest. Eorzea, a blighted realm, riddled with false gods. Twice now it has eluded the Empire's grasp. For all the destruction it wrought, even Meteor, the great sin, failed to yield us control over it. And for this failure, the realm has sunk deeper into depravity. It is twisted beyond all reckoning, rotten nigh to the core. Yet, it must be saved. Only Garlean rule can bring order to Eorzea. It falls to us to deliver the misguided masses from their ignorance.
We are of one mind, Lord Van Balzar.
Senior engineers, please report to Magitech research following scheduled inspection.
Hey, is the Legatus really planning to take another tilt at Eorzea?
Hey? What hole have you been hiding in? We're in the midst of preparing for a new campaign, and a huge one at that.
But I thought the Emperor had given up the Western lands for lost after Cartano. What could the Legatus possibly hope to gain by acting alone?
I sense you harbor certain doubts over the wisdom of the Legatus's plan.
My lord!
Please, call me Nero. Tell me, where were you born?
Othard, my lord.
Alamigo, my lord.
Ah, codename Hummingway, I presume?
I don't know what you...
Silence. Your denials will not change your fate. I assure you, Frumentarium sees all. Clean up this mess, and do not miss any, or I shall be most displeased.
At once, my lord.
Garland. Soon you will be made to know the true power of Magitech.
So now you've met the villains, who are all evil Power Rangers. You are the Gridanian envoy? Welcome to Limsa. The Admiral has been looking forward to your arrival. Please proceed to the Crow's Lift at your earliest convenience. It will take you to Bulwark Hall. Once there, pray speak with Xantheo. He will be pleased to show you in to the Admiral's command room on the bridge. It's an island, not a boat, but they use lots of boat-related words to describe basically everything. Yes, let me in, please. I have this letter.
Enter. I did not expect the Gridanian envoy to be an adventurer. It speaks highly of your character that the elder Eorzea would choose an outsider to represent her nation's interests. This way. I bid you welcome. I am Melvib Blufisvin, Admiral of Limsa and Commander of the Maelstrom.
I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce her last name. Ever.
Now, what news from the Black Shroud?
A memorial service to honor the fallen. Seven hells. Has it been 5 years? 5 years since the Garlean Empire sought to wrest Eorzea from our grasp. It was in answer to the Imperial threat that the city-states formed the Grand Companies and forged the Eorzean alliance anew. But Garlemald was not content to wager all on a simple contest of martial might. They had other plans, the Meteor Project. Legatus Nail von Darnus, I think. Hell's take him, intended to cleanse our realm by snatching the lesser moon, Dalamud, from the heavens and casting it down upon our heads. Desperate to prevent this lunatic scheme, we marched our forces to the Cartano Flats, and there met the 7th Imperial Legion in battle. Never have I seen a fight like the Battle of Cartano, and I have seen full many. But though we gave no quarter, spared not 1 ounce of effort, we could not prevent what followed. From inside the shell of Dalamud came a winged nightmare, a dragon the size of a bloody city. 'Twas the elder primal Bahamut, bent on making an 8th hell of Eorzea. In the space of a breath, the legions of the Empire were set aflame, while our own armies fared little better. 'Twas as if the whole world was burning. Words cannot well describe the scene. And yet, by some miracle, a few among us were spared. Even as I steeled myself for death, a blinding white light enveloped me, robbing me of my senses. When I regained them, the dragon was gone, and the still smoldering land was warped beyond all knowing. Were Archon Louis-Soix still with us, he would doubtless shed some light on these unfathomable happenings. Alas, he is not, and I fear we will want for his wisdom in the days to come. So, I can't remember if the main story does explain exactly what happened. If it doesn't, by the point where it would have, I will just go over what happened so that we don't have to go do the side bit that really gets into the details of it. Because it's not something I can solo. For while our nations struggle to recover from the devastation, the beastmen call forth their damned primals to torment us anew. So the primals are the summons from basically every other Final Fantasy game. So they're going to have familiar names to people who have played other Final Fantasies, like Ifrit and Titan and Bahamut. Unless we put aside our differences and rebuild now, our foes will catch us unprepared. And I speak not only of the beastmen. Do not imagine that the Empire has forsaken its claim on Eorzea. The Imperials crowd our borders, waiting to strike. Damn it all, we need champions to replace those we lost. But such thoughts are worse than worthless. Time is short and none will save ourselves. It is the duty of every soul who survived the calamity to work together for the good of Eorzea, and this memorial service may be the very thing to unite us. I, Kane Senna, has the right of it. I accept her proposal. Your duty is done here, adventurer. I will see to it that the Elder Seedseer receives my reply. You travel next to Ul'dah, yes? Pray give my regards to General Rauban. Oh, and tell him the wolf has been sniffing around the stables. A private jest, and one in poor taste, but I would have you tell it all the same. Very well, Asuka. May the navigator guide you on your journey. One more airship flight coming up. And I'm not really gonna bother reading the generic, do you want to go through this door text. Welcome to Ul'dah, madam. We have been expecting you. Flame General Rauban will receive you in the Fragrant Chamber. Please take the lift down to the hustings strip and speak with Bartholomew at the Royal Promenade. I will do that. Where is it? This way. Ul'dah is quite possibly one of the worst laid out cities in all of video game history. It's just a whole bunch of concentric rings that don't match up where you think they should, and dead ends. Lots of dead ends in this city.
I won't hold it against you. If you're half the warrior Kane says, 'tis a wonder you don't reek of dead Ixal. Welcome to the Sultanate of Ul'dah. I am Rauban al-Din, General of the Immortal Flames. But you did not come all this way to trade formalities.
Cartano. I remember bloody Cartano. Do you know what happened that day, adventurer, when we took the field against the Garleans? So my counterparts have educated you. Oh, trust Merlwyb to make light of our wolf problem. Woman always did have a black sense of humor. Okay, so an explanation of the wolf joke is that Gaius Van Belsar, the leader of the evil Power Rangers, is known as the Black Wolf. So that's who they're referring to. Wolves are bloodthirsty beasts upon which one cannot turn one's back. 'Tis only a matter of time before they bite. So it was with the Garleans 50 years ago. No sooner had they learned how to use Magitech than they began seizing territory from their neighbors. Led by then Legatus Solus Zos Galvus, Garlean names, they swiftly brought the other nations of Ilsebard to heel, and so the Legatus became an emperor, and his republic an empire which then set its sights upon Eorzea. But the conquering emperor is now an old man of 80 winters. His health is failing, and he has no clear successor. Like as not, this is why the Garleans have been quiet of late. But the 14th Imperial Legion is still entrenched within our borders, and their commander, Legatus Gaius Van Belsar, has long harbored ambitions of conquest. Were he to strike now, I fear we would fall like so many others before us, and not only Ul'dah, but Gridania and Limsalominsa as well. For the calamity brought the lot of us to our knees, and we've yet to get up. We barely have the strength to stand against the beast tribes, never mind the primals they mean to summon. We are a realm divided, adventurer, an alliance in name only. But the wolf cares not for the plight of its prey. The Garleans stir, and the Admiral would not let it go unnoticed. All other concerns pale in comparison to the Empire, even the beast tribes and their bloody primals. We must stand united once more, that much is clear, and if we're to do so, we must remember the cause which last brought us together. Kane will have her memorial. We will honor the memory of the fallen. We will remind the people what their brothers and sisters fought and died for. Shall I inform the Sultana and the Syndicate? I will speak with her grace myself. Very good, sir. The Elder Seed Seer will have my reply anon. My thanks to you, adventurer. Ah, my Lady Envoy, I trust your stay in the Sultanate has been pleasant. Now, if you don't mind my asking, do you perchance have plans to visit Limsa in the near future? If so, I have information that may be of interest to you. I once accompanied the Flame General on an official visit to the seaside city-state, Rubber Baby Buggy Bumpers, during which time I became acquainted with Baderon, the proprietor of the Drowning Wench. Well, the man sent word just now that he has a job for a capable adventurer. I can think of none with better credentials than you. Baderon would doubtless be pleased were you to offer your services. Alright. We're not taking an airship this time. Ah, there everyone popped in. So this particular Aetheryte Plaza, at least on my server, has a reputation for being where all of the people who do erotic role-playing gather and generally make things weird for everyone else. Welcome to the Drowning Wench. Sit wherever you like, lass. I'll be with you in a... I'm Baderon. Alright, who's asking? Limsa is a city full of pirates. Of course I'm going to do this voice. Ah, heard as I've got a job for a capable venturer, you say? Well, you're bloody right. Just so you're fairly warned, though, this ain't no job for the faint of heart. Things are liable to get downright bleeding hairy, and if you think you're still interested, let me know and I'll fill you in on the details. So that's the end of Chapter 1 of New Game Plus, and I have to step outside the place to start Chapter 2. I found that out on the first time I tried to record this. I thank ye for taking the time to help me out. Actually writing out Cockney. Now I'm sure you're busy, so I'll come straight to the point. Word has it some suspicious-looking buggers have been sneaking in and out of the Sestasha Sea Grot, and I need a trusty sort to head up north of Aleport and find out who they are and what they're up to. Don't sound like much, I know. But it weren't so long ago as the flat fishbacks, the Sahagin, pet pirates paid us an unwelcome visit, and folk are feeling a bit nervous. If you would permit me... Oh, this is someone else. If you would permit me, Master Baderon, I should be happy to elaborate. Well, if it ain't the Chief Yellowjacket himself. To what do I owe this rare honor, Commodore Raynor? Come to make sure me patrons are behaving, or just thirsty? Neither, in fact. I was informed that you had requested an adventurer to assist in my investigation, and I came to offer what information I could sift from recent reports. Over the course of the past moon, there have been several sightings of an unfamiliar vessel off the coast of Aleport in the vicinity of the Isles of Umbra. This information came to my attention no more than a few weeks after a squad of my own soldiers had completed a routine patrol of the region, the Sastasha Seagrot included. Their search revealed little, save that a family of Kurls had taken up residence in the caves. Nothing to concern us, in short. In light of recent developments, however, it would seem wise to search Sastasha again. But with the Sahagin testing our defenses daily, I am loath to assign the task to the limited forces at my disposal. Our line is stretched thin as it is. Thus, I sought the services of a competent adventurer to conduct an investigation in our stead. Any aid you can offer in this matter would be greatly appreciated. Then it is settled. Sastasha is located in western Lanasia. For more detailed instructions on how to reach the place, I suggest you consult Vimelpa. She can be found at the ferry docks on the lower decks. You heard the man. Good luck to you, lass. So we're on our way to our first dungeon now, with a couple of tutorial type conversations that we have to, go through to actually go into the dungeon. You hear about Commodore Raynor's investigation? Then you'll want to board a ferry bound for Aleport. Once you arrive in western Lanasia, though, you'd best pay a visit to the Hall of the Novice before you blunder into Sastasha. The Adventurers Guild runs the hall, and the folk there will prepare you, train you with the skills you'll need to face the dangers undoubtedly waiting for you in the Seagrot. The hall is on the way to Sastasha, just north of Aleport. Head inside, and one of their seasoned adventurers will take you in hand. Best of luck to you, friend. We're not actually going to take the ferry. Ah, you must be the adventurer of whom the Yellow Jackets sent word. I hear you are to brave the depths of the Sastasha Seagrot. The occupants of those caves are rumored to be as numerous as they are bloodthirsty. No matter what epic tales would have you believe, strolling into such a den of savagery alone would be the height of foolishness. No, you shall need companions, and you shall need the training we here at the Hall of the Novice can provide. I strongly suggest that you study the fundamentals of group combat before continuing your mission. The smith here oversees the training schedules. Speak with him, and you can register for exercises tailored to your particular field of expertise. When you have mastered all that our masters have to teach, then it will be time to head north once more. Report to the Yellow Jacket Scout at the mouth of the Sastasha Seagrot, and he will furnish you with the details of your duty. We are doing none of that. In fact, we are going to go into the dungeon alone. Please tell me you're here on Yellow Jacket duty and not some daft sod out for a stroll. I can't take any more of this blasted waiting. You are? Thank the gods. I assume you already know about the ship seen slipping around the Isles of Umbra? We've been on the lookout for pirate activity ever since that vessel was sighted, thinking a crew of cutthroats might have a den nearby. So when we received word that men of questionable quality had been seen passing in and out of Sastasha here, we weren't entirely surprised. I've yet to see them for myself, but if this lot belongs to those fishback-fancying serpent reavers, well, you can imagine the panic it'll cause. The kidnappings are still fresh in people's minds. Anyway, your task is to poke around in the caves and find out exactly who we're dealing with. While you do that, I'll be keeping watch out here, praying you don't spot any blue face tattoos. Ah. So this is just tutorial stuff, telling me about how I can take NPCs into the dungeon with me, or I can go in with other players. But since I'm at max level, I'm just going to solo it. Which will take about 5 minutes to just run through and murder everything. So up ahead here, there's a note we're going to read that's part of a gimmick for the first boss, where there's 3 different colored pieces of coral you can click on, and you have to click on, looks like the blue one this time, because it changes every time you come in. A few of the early dungeons have gimmicks. That tends to go away further into the game in favor of a more formulaic approach. This part's gonna be fun. We're gonna aggro a whole big chunk of enemies. So the note said blue, spelled wrong, but because pirates are, not known for their ability to spell. So we click the blue one, it makes this switch appear, but touching the switch makes that guy appear. And those bits of purple light on the floor every so often are placed sections of the dungeon that seal off once you start fighting in them. Essentially, they're boss fights. I'll take that key. I'll get this key from Shrek. I'm not entirely sure if it's just that these older dungeons don't have a lot of music, or if the music is not resetting after fights because I'm not taking as much time to do the fights as they planned. Either way, the further into the game we get, the longer these will take. You sully are spotting something. Didn't let me read it. So that's a very large Sahagin. I'm gonna dance at him. Now we report back to the guy who gave us the quest. Aye, such a task was on the books. Was, mind. I'm afraid that ship has already sailed, friend. Ah, might you be the adventurer who accepted the job of investigating Sastasha? Yes. Humph. It would seem that ship was not only sailed, but now returns to harbor. None the worse for its voyage. A pity we dragged our boots too long on this one. No matter, the wheel will turn and our chance will come. You are right, of course, but there shall be no rest till we have attained our goal, lofty though it may be. Not a wink of sleep, great leader. Our aim, lest you wonder, is to perform such feats of heroism as will earn us a place in the songs of every alehouse in Eorzea. We mean to write a legend which will inspire adventurers as yet unborn to follow our shining example. Do you have such a goal? Large or small, it matters not. Only have a star to reach for, and you will reach higher. Purpose can sustain you through times of hardship. Keep your eye on the prize, and all obstacles will be overcome in time. You're saying a lot of stuff for the person who didn't just go do the dungeon. You would not think to stride into battle unclad, would you? Well, goals are as arms and armor for the spirit. I wish you fortune in your endeavors, my lady. Back then, are ye? With all your limbs and a tale to tell, I'll wager. Fishbacks, and there I was thinking you'd only have to crack a pirate skull or three. 7 L's, you turn your back for 5 bloody minutes and the scaly bastards have set up shop on your bleeding doorstep. Still sounds like you left them in pieces, so I don't suppose they'll be carrying out whatever mischief they was planning, unless they was planning on feeding themselves to the fauna of Sastasha, of course. Any road, all's well that ends well. On behalf of Limsa, I thank you for shedding some light on this mystery. You've lived up to your reputation, and I couldn't ask for no more than that. Now, I'll bet you're dying for a rest, but just in case you're not, I was wondering if you might be interested in taking on another job. It just so happens they've had a request that I've had a request from our sister guild in Gridania, you see. Seems the forest folk are in need of a venturer what can get things done. For them to ask for help like this, you can bet the task won't be no skip through a sunny glade. But after the way you dealt with our fishback infestation, I doubt it's anything you can't handle. Give us a shout when you're ready and I'll lay it out for you. Tulip meat. Ready to hear about that job then? Like I said, the request comes from our sister guild in Gridania. And that's all I know, but whatever it is you get asked to do, I somehow doubt it'd pose any trouble for a venturer as survived the bedlam in Sastasha. If you think you might be interested, you'll want to have words with Mother Mioun, my counterpart in Gridania. Good luck, lass. Good thing I already know her. I think that guy was playing the Mortal Kombat theme on his harp, which could get him in trouble if someone decides to report him. Don't do it. Take a seat wherever you like, Fred. Our waitress will come take your... Oh, it's you, Asuka. 'Tis so good to see you again. What's that? Here at Bateron's suggestion, you say? The foul-mouthed rogue sends me word that an adventurer might be along for the job, and it turns out to be you. Well, this makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? With regard to the task in question, there is a fair bit to tell. Let me know when you're ready to hear the details, and I shall brief you. Ready for that briefing? Good. Now then, here's the long and short of it. Then Lewin bursts in. Beg pardons for interrupting, Mioun, but our need grows ever more pressing. Have none stepped forward? And good evening to you too, Bowlord. Your need must be pressing indeed for you to honor us with a visit. The good news is, your journey hasn't been wasted. I'm pleased to report that we have a volunteer at last, and one who comes highly recommended at that. Well, if it isn't our very own woman for all seasons. You certainly have a knack for appearing when you're most needed, Asuka. My thanks for answering the call. Now, time is of the essence, so I shall proceed directly to the heart of the matter. We wish for you to nip a potential threat to Gridania in the bud. Beneath the central shroud, there lies an underground burial site called the Tamtara Deepcroft. The place was once a Gelmoran settlement. Gelmora is an ancient civilization that doesn't exist anymore. But we Gridanians have long interred our dead there. Of late, however, shadowy figures have been seen skulking around the Deepcroft, and with ever-increasing regularity. Based on the accounts of various witnesses, we suspect that these individuals belong to the Lambs of Dalamud, a doomsday cult which sprung up prior to the calamity. These zealots have proven themselves dangerous in the past, and we leave them to their own devices at our peril. Ordinarily, I would have dispatched my best men to scour the Deepcroft with orders to flush the cultists out. Alas, the calamity decimated our ranks, and the limited forces at my disposal are constantly required to keep the Ixal at bay. Since we thwarted their attack on the Guardian Tree, the Birdmen have not allowed us a moment's respite. They have probed every ilm of our defenses in search of a weakness, compelling me to spread our forces far more thinly than I would like. Side note about units of measurement in this game. They use ilms for inches, then they skip all the way to yalms, which are yards, and malms, which are miles. They don't have a word for feet. The situation so being, we have no choice but to entrust the task of dealing with the lambs of Dalamud to others. Can we rely on you to handle this matter, Asuka? Yes. Yes. You have my gratitude. Once you've seen to your preparations, pray make your way to the Deepcroft and identify yourself to the guard posted at the entrance. He will apprise you of the latest developments. That is all. Be careful out there, you hear? May the crystal guide you and keep you. And also with you. So this mount is an elephant that barely fits on the screen. And it can fly, because all of my mounts can. I get particular about the camera distance. You're Asuka Hassenpfeffer, I take it. Thanks for helping us out, friend. No doubt the Bowlord has already informed you, but your task is to enter the Deepcroft and purge it of the Lambs of Dalamud. In case you're unfamiliar with them, the cult emerged shortly before the Calamity put an end to the sixth astral era. The cultists took the lesser moon, Dalamud, for their god, believing that it would deliver them from the devastation. And so they were rather disappointed when Dalamud exploded into 1,000 flaming pieces before it could complete its descent. Now, having seen their god turn to ash, one would think that the cultists might feel moved to question their faith. On the contrary, it served only to stoke the flames of their fanaticism. We don't know anyone like that. The Lambs of Dalamud are convinced that heretics, that is to say, everyone but them, interfered with the coming of their Lord and Savior, and that it's now their sacred duty to avenge him. Whatever it is they're doing in the Deepcroft, you may be sure that no good will come of it. For the sake of Gridania and Eorzea at large, put an end to their madness. I will. A lot of the dungeons you just saw on that list are optional, and we won't be doing them as part of this playthrough. This dungeon also has a gimmick where we've got to break those little balls that are shining the blue lasers at the big purple ball to let us into the final boss arena. Which you can see down there. So this is this dungeon's kind of arranged in a ring around the final spot. One down. Two down. So there's an extra bit of gimmick here, where we have to go grab an item to get rid of that barrier. Just a little bit of backtracking, which is also something they stopped doing in later dungeons, having any sort of backtracking or side areas that you don't have to go down. And we break 2 of these. Have ourselves a cutscene.
Who summons me from the void to reside within this cruel vessel?
It's a Dungeons and Dragons bad guy. Dead one. Teleport back to Gridania. Get out of this guy's music range. Alright, that'll be probably good for this installment. We'll talk to Miyun at the start of the next one.